This is Pat Colleluori, and reaching out from the HEADstrong Foundation. I'm joined by my dear friend, brother from another mother, Ken Clausen.
Yeah,
And
baby.
what's up, man?
Yeah.
And we're absolutely delighted to come to you today. We just got back, he and I, from the MLL Championships down in Charleston, South Carolina. Kenny, did you have a good time?
Had an amazing time. We had a great time hanging at the award ceremony, and then of course an unbelievable championship game between the Rattlers and the Outlaws. We had so many great people down, for the whole weekend, and Charleston was just such a gracious host for the league, and then we had just a phenomenal time. The fan turnout was incredible. So yeah, it was really, really a great end and finish for the 2018 MLL season. It was it was really neat, and we're excited for the fall coming up right now.
Yeah. In fact, the whole weekend was very nostalgic. I got an opportunity to spend some time with some great guys that I haven't seen in a long time. Lacrosse players like Casey Powell, Peter Dante, John Grant Jr. And it was really cool to bring all those people down to Charleston. And, as I say all the time, the close knit fraternalness of our lacrosse family is something that makes this sport unlike any other. And obviously, having you there was fun. And like I said, it got me thinking about you see these guys transitioning up to the professional side of lacrosse, and you see them coming out of college, and there's so many of them over the years that have been involved with HEADstrong that I feel like so many of them are family. And many of them have participated in our fall event series. Many of them have wore lime green laces. And what was so cool is so many of them in the past have participated in Lacrosse Mustache Madness. And Lax Stache Madness is something that's on the horizon, and something that we always look forward to every year. And as the summer kind of comes to a close, we start to think about what a special time it is for college programs, and kids starting their college journey, and upperclassmen, and what it means for them is the idea of leaving behind a legacy takes a little bit greater shape. And I also think that it's an incredibly important time for teams for building chemistry, and for so many people that are maybe starting with a new team and trying to carve an identity, trying to do things that are bigger than themselves. I think the college experience is defined by the things that and the people we become are certainly correlated to life experiences, and being a student athlete is one that again stays with people wherever they go. And I'm a firm believer that the things that you learn as part of a team and a college student athlete certainly prepare you for life's obstacles. And I know that, I lived that with Nick's battle. And I remember identifying things from his journey that, things for being part of a team, and just this desire to, to be part of things bigger than yourself, or what got him through some of the darkest days of his life. So with that being said, we start to think about ways that we can, become better people, that we can become better assets to the team, and more importantly, use our platforms. And I think that, Lax Stache Madness, as it's taken shape over the years, is an incredible statement on behalf of the college lacrosse community in support of families across the country. So could you do me a favor and talk to me a little bit about and just share with the coaches and the players and the growers that are going to be watching this video about what this campaign means to you, and a little bit about its history?
Yeah, well, I think, one of the most amazing things is this year is such a monumental year for us with Lax Stache Madness, the HEADstrong Foundation. This is the 10th Lax Stache Madness campaign that we're putting together, which is it is unbelievable to think that a decade has gone by. And in that decade, we've raised now over $1 million supporting the HEADstrong Foundation and supporting families in need and going through treatment. And with the new Nick's house, and I know you're going to touch further on, the impact is so tangible and grow year in and year out. We started this, this was an idea between myself, teammate of mine, Todd Fiella, who was a fifth-year transfer from Brown, came to UVA, and our wonderful trainer, Rebecca Vozo. And the three of us, put this idea together to start this Lax Stache Madness. It started in our dorm room, Todd and I sitting around thinking this idea and what we can do. And in that first year, we were able to raise $30,000, and we partnered with the HEADstrong Foundation because of just the amazing connection that we had, Pat, with Nick and HEADstrong being from southeastern Pennsylvania, where I grew up, and Nick wearing number 27 for him being, which was my number, and him being a defenseman, which I played. And then we ended up finding, believe it or not, years later, right about a year later, that we shared the same birthday on October 19th, which is why we started Lax Stache Madness on October 19th. And going from year one raising $30,000, which is just, incredible in and of itself, to now be raising over $250,000 in this, 5-week period last year. We had over 84 teams joined. We had over 5,500 donors and over 1,400 growers, which is just astounding, right? And so it's meant so much. It's such a cool, event. And, our mindset was we want to make a difference, right? We have this great game of lacrosse that unites all of us, and it's such a tight-knit community. But at the end of the day, it is a game, right? And what can we do that's going to have more of a lasting effect on the families and the country, and something that we can really tie ourselves to that's not going to be limited to this 4-year experience in college. And so we found that so many teams continue to join, and it is such a great bonding experience and team event throughout the fall. And it's fun, right? You grow a mustache. Most of us don't tend to have a mustache throughout the year. And so when you do, people go, well, what are you doing? Why do you have a mustache? You go, well, this is what I'm doing, and this is who I'm supporting. You can see who we're supporting and where it's going. And Pat, we were just talking about it. There are over 600 college lacrosse teams in this country, right? Going from D1, 2, 3, your MCLA, your JUCO teams. There are over 600 teams. We had 84 teams join last year, and we were able to raise over $250,000. Could you imagine if we double that up, if we triple that, if we get more and more teams supporting this and benefiting families that need it? The impact that we can have is just so unbelievable and so tremendous. And we are so excited to have a decade of Lax Stache Madness, and so much thanks goes out to those growers and those supporters and those donors who year in and year out, or while they're in their 4-year stint, whatever it may be, the impact has been just incredible. And we have so much lined up for a great year 10. We are so excited to engage everyone and get it back going for Lax Stache Madness number 10.
That's awesome. And I'll tell you what, Kenny, I mean, I take such pride in this campaign and seeing, how over the years this thing has continued to evolve. And one of the most interesting dynamics, when I know you speak about it all the time and I speak about it all the time, is that there is this interactive competition that takes place starting on November 1st. And what it does is essentially allows teams at every level to go head-to-head against real competition in a bracket-style format. And every year we end up, awarding and recognizing someone as our national Lax-Off champion on both the team side and the individual side. But one thing that I think is so incredibly important is that this is a competition and a fundraising campaign that teams can do together. And social media takes such a big handle or big piece of this competition because it really is the athletes, the students driving this campaign. They're representing their program. They are competing against other teams. And, what I get so excited about is when you see a program that is scraping for a little bit of visibility and attention. And maybe they are, just starting up in their first year, or, maybe it's a program that doesn't necessarily have, a huge roster. And they're playing at a smaller school or a private school or a club program. this is an opportunity to, despite that adversity, for these club teams, these varsity programs to go head to head against each other and make for some awesome competition. And I think that it's so exciting to see when Division III schools go head to head against Division I schools, and club programs go against Division III and Division I schools. And, you know, you see also programs from across the country that normally wouldn't meet on the field battle it out to see who can grow their biggest mustache or greatest Lax Stache, and also compete in fundraising to see who can raise the largest incremental gains over one another. I think the interactive part of this campaign has made it so much fun. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, absolutely. When I think, look, I mean, we certainly focus on the college teams because that's where we've had so much response, but it's not limited to just them either, right? We can have high school teams. Not as many high schoolers might be able to grow their mustache, which is always, you can always finger stash if you need to, but you can have adult teams. We've got college teams. We've got everyone, right? And so you have the opportunity, right? Even as, say, a 40-year-old male, you have the opportunity to back team in and compete against the University of Maryland, right? The University of Virginia, or whomever it may be. And so the interactive nature has certainly made it just such an exciting piece. And I think that, you know, you mentioned it before. You have teams that during the fall, so much of what you're trying to do is establish a team, establish a connection and a unity and a bond. And it's not always the easiest to figure that out, right? You can do it on the field, right? You're always battling and running and going through these workouts to develop your chemistry. But with Lax Stache Madness too, the platform we've set up makes it easy for everyone to participate, right? There's nothing you really have to do on your end other than simply sign up as your own individual and team fundraiser, right? You join, you go to our website, www.laxstachemadness.com, and you either join your team that's already registered or you register as a fundraiser yourself and create the team. And then other than that, it's simply, look, using your social media network, your family and your friends, putting your fundraising page out there, and asking someone to help you, right? And if you have your girlfriend that's upset about you growing a mustache, you can always, one, default, say, hey, I'm doing this for charity, but two, say, hey, look, if you raise X amount of money, I might shave my mustache, or I'm going to shave it by this date. And so you see a lot of different creative ways of people to do it. We had an elementary school, Sutherland Middle School in Charlottesville, fundraising for years, doing a cornhole tournament at their elementary school. And so there's so much opportunity to build in your community, and the effort it can really be minimal, especially with the way that social media is going these days. Post your picture, put it on your platform, ask people to support it, and you're gonna have a lot of success and a lot of fun, and get some chuckles while you're doing it as well.
Yeah. And so, you know, I also think about, you know, exactly the statement of these mustaches and what they mean and the storyline behind Lax Stache Madness. And, you know, for those of you who are maybe just hearing of the HEADstrong Foundation, this is an organization that was started by my younger brother, Nicholas, who at 19 years old, who was playing lacrosse at Hofstra University, was terminally diagnosed with an aggressive form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he battled this disease publicly for 14 months before succumbing to the disease on November 28th, 2006. And with that being said, from a hospital bed, because Nicholas witnessed firsthand and our family experienced such a, such despair and such limited direct services and support and resources available to us to help ease a lot of the financial hardship that we had endured, Nicholas was inspired to use his platform of the Lacrosse Brotherhood as a mechanism and vehicle to make a difference and to raise awareness, and more importantly, raise funding for families to help improve their quality of life and help people living with cancer with a greater sense of normalcy and tackle a lot of the challenges, primarily the affordability and the accessibility of care. And so this is a young man who in the last days of his life was focused on trying to use his experience and that of our family for the betterment of others that would follow in his footsteps. And for more than a decade now, the lacrosse community and beyond has championed Nick's torch. This is an organization that has assisted more than 15,000 families from across the country. This is an organization that has provided close to $14 million in support and programming We also own and operate 2 large guest family homes called Nick's House, which provide complimentary housing for families. But with respect to the mustache, um, something that everyone that is dealing with cancer has to come to grips with at a certain point is the physical changes. To put it out there, my brother Nick went from being 185 pounds at the time of his diagnosis, playing Division I athletics, was the pillar of strength, just always did the right things, lifting and conditioning and working out and all these different things to have the optimal physical physique. And within a very short period of time was confined to a wheelchair and 120 pounds. During that time, he lost his hair multiple times, but I remember him specifically saying just, the day he lost his eyebrows, I mean, from going through chemotherapy infusions and things like that, he lost all of his body hair. But losing his eyebrows certainly had a toll on his psyche, his mental well-being. And despite positivity, it was something that for him, I think made him feel not normal. And, I know that he was deeply bothered by, maybe how children would look at him, because obviously you don't typically see people walking around without eyebrows. Surprisingly, he was able to, after his hair started to grow back, he was able to grow a mustache. And I tell people all the time that I really think what inspired his desire to grow his mustache in the latter part of his life was not only a desire to feel normalcy, but to create something that would shift the conversation away from maybe how he was looking and, more importantly, how he was feeling. For somebody that's dealing with cancer, the last question that you want to ask every single day, because it's asked so frequently, is how are you feeling? And so in Nick's situation, he was wanting to buffer the conversation into something more positive. And when Nick grew the mustache, the attention was drawn away from his physical appearance. And it was like, wow, you grew a mustache? That's awesome. And that is, the type of person Nick was, always trying to take the attention off of himself and, divert it into something that was incredibly positive. And so I tell people all the time that, the message, the statement of these lacrosse players growing their mustache is as much a memorial or a tribute to Nick, but also, emulating the last 6 weeks of his life from October 19th, which was he and Ken's birthday, to November 28th, which was the day that he passed away. And so these dates are incredibly significant as they represent the birthday and the date that Nick did pass away from this disease. And we can't think of a better way to, to champion the positivity of Nick's message than through this incredible, fun, interactive way to directly assist patients and families across the country who have been financially halted because of their circumstance. And, I can honestly speak from personal experience. In the latter part of Nick's life, he was displaced and we were displaced to Bethesda, Maryland, while he pursued a clinical trial. And unfortunately, it proved not to be successful. But in that moment, when we were faced with very little options, and quite frankly, no options, we found ourselves in desperate times, and we went. And that's what happens to families across the country. Not everyone has access to a comprehensive cancer center or a specialty treatment or a specialty clinician. However, there are groundbreaking clinical trials happening every day in different parts of the country. Where we're based in Philadelphia, we are blessed to be in an area that has such a concentration with the national oncology focus happening here. And with that being said, Philadelphia, where we're based, is also home to the largest inpatient and outpatient cancer units, as well as one of the most prestigious and respected pediatric cancer centers in the world. And so we have an international patient base that comes here pursuing these treatments. But so often, because, unfortunately, when you're dealing with a cancer, curveballs present themselves. The unexpected is something that so many of these families have to live with. And just the family dynamics and diversities of family situations really present difficult hurdles. These treatments aren't free, and the fact that they're not readily accessible means that there's a lot of out-of-pocket expense that has to happen, okay, for these people to even consider going through these treatments. And the sad part is, more times than none, families will sacrifice convenience over best possible care. And when things, unfortunately progress to a point in which there is little to be done, these folks have to hit the road, if you will. They get backed into a corner of having to explore radical and clinical trials that may save their loved one. And so a lot of times, from an affordability standpoint, those are the things that prevent people from pursuing those treatments. One thing about Nick's House, which is so incredibly important and why it's so critically needed, is that Nick's House provides more than 2,500 nights of housing to families that are traveling to the greater Philadelphia region in pursuit of these clinical trials and life-saving treatments. Not only is it a home for the patient, but also their families and caregivers. And so we are very, very proud to offer a state-of-the-art, beautiful, beautiful home in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, and another beautiful home in Ridley Township, Pennsylvania, which provide these resources. These homes are ADA compliant and provide everything from air filtration to generators, to handicap accessibility, to elevators, to even chairlifts and special bedding. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful home, and just something that serves as an incredible complement to the landscape of the oncological community here in Philadelphia, but on a national level, because the families that live with us for the 6 to 8 weeks on average are relieved of about $15,000 to $20,000 per family. So the annual impact of Nick's House in general is close to $2.5 million in relief, just in out-of-pocket expenses that we've saved families. That excludes the financial aid and the grants and the projects that we fund. So this is a cause that is so critically needed and so important, and something that I think resonates with lacrosse players nationwide, because this is something that the lacrosse community has had a direct hand in influencing and creating and sustaining, and together we have made a huge impact, and we're scratching the surface. As Ken mentioned, just through this campaign, there are more than 527 additional programs that need to get involved, Ken.
They need to get in. They need to join the madness, right? And you talked about it, right? I mean, the impact that we've seen is so much of it has to do with the tangible benefits that we're showing people and that people are receiving, right? Coming to Nick's House. If you're curious about more about Nick's House, you can go to HEADstrong's YouTube page, and they've got some, got to run through, and you can go to their website, headstrong.org, and check it out. We've had how many teams now have stopped by Nick's House, and some of the teams, Virginia stopped by, Maryland stopped by. Who else has stopped by Nick's House to get a tour and actually see the impact that their growing of the mustaches is making?
Sure. In fact, this year, we were delighted to welcome more than 14 college programs for tours of Nick's House. And one of the most interesting things that I felt happened over the course of the spring and summer is that as these programs get a chance to tour and visit families and see the impact of their generosity, you see like a whistle or a bell go off, where it's like all of a sudden there's like this instant connectivity. I think that, when the cause is presented up close and personal, and you see it and you're living it and you're in the element and you're like, wow, you look around this amazing home and, you see what it's doing for people. It's life-changing, and it makes you proud to be part of something bigger than yourself, and know that, wow, like my mustache or my fundraising, has been able to result in things like this. The average family incurs about 150 to $200 a night in hotel related expense when they are living out of a hotel, just to give you an idea as to, the type of relief that's provided. But when you live in the city of Philadelphia, things like football games, concerts, special events, that sends hotel prices into chaos. And, you could see hotel rooms that skyrocket to $400 a night. And so, again, families aren't necessarily prepared. They come to Philadelphia with the hope that things are going to go according to plan. And to be quite honest with you, they rarely do. And so, what turns out to be a 1 month stay quickly turns into a 2 or 3 month stay. And so these are the type of things that do happen. But as these teams, whether it be Virginia, Maryland, Drexel, Robert Morris, Brown, Hofstra, Marquette, Georgetown, I mean, all these teams had the opportunity to use their games in the greater Philadelphia region to stop off and tour Nick's house this past season. It was so incredibly special to see just the mission resonate with so many athletes. And I think that that's really going to start the ball rolling. And I think that, today, if anything, for those watching this is a challenge. We want to get as many college programs, right, Ken, involved with this campaign as possible. 10th year, let's raise $500,000 this year. Let's double it. I think we can do it. What do you think, Kenny?
I think there's no doubt. There's no doubt. We need teams to jump on. We need teams to engage in the madness. Grow your mustache, right? Our goal is to have every lacrosse player, regardless of age, but especially these college teams that we're going after, to be growing their mustache, right? You see people all the time. They may shave their head for a family member in solidarity. We want the lacrosse community to be growing their mustaches throughout this period, October 19th to November 28th, to unify this sport around a cause, to improve the quality of life for cancer patients, to make a difference, to continue to grow and support Nick's house, and to have this impact. We all can do something that's so special, and we know this community is so special as it is. And so we've continued to see the growth, over $200,000, over $250,000 last year. Yep. Year 10, sky's the limit. We've continued to be amazed by the community, by the support that we've continued to grow. Each year we look at each other and go, how are we going to do what we did last year? That was so incredible. We are so thankful. So you know what? Why not? We're doubling it. $500,000. That's our goal for this year. $500,000 in 5 weeks. We know that we have so many more teams, right? Over 500 teams that have yet to join the madness. We want to get them on board. So let's join it. Let's grow our mustaches. Let's do it for Nick. Let's do it for everyone out there battling, each family. We know our community has what it takes to get it. And what a better way to continue to grow lacrosse in this to see it growing at that level. There's no better way to create a better statement for this sport than to unite on this cause and make such an impact that you can see, we can show you. And there's no doubt it's going to have an amazing impact. It already has. And this year is going to be the best one yet.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll tell you what, man, we think about what motivates people to participate in this campaign. And I'll tell you, I continue and we continue to be motivated by the so many families that the HEADstrong Foundation is holding their hand through their darkest days and serving as a beacon of light. And, I'll be honest, this is a campaign that means a lot to a lot of people, especially in the world of lacrosse. Now, cancer is hitting our lacrosse community incredibly hard. In fact, right now, we're working with more than 14 lacrosse players, coaches that are struggling and that are battling cancer. These are kids that are, 12, 15, 14 years old. And then we also have some coaches that are fighting as well. And, this is something that, just earlier this summer, we lost a dear friend of ours, Coach Mike Schambach, who was at Montclair State. He was a good friend of ours, a very close supporter, who, used his platform to make a difference before his diagnosis. He had succumbed to colon cancer at 38 years old. in May. And then also a dear family friend, Nick Baratelli from Wheeling Jesuit, who was a goalie who, after battling brain cancer for 3 years, succumbed to the disease just a few weeks back. We think about, how this disease is touching our lacrosse community. And we need to step up, unite, and do something, so incredible on behalf of these families, whether they play lacrosse or whether they don't. The fight is the same. We know that prizes and incentives, if you participated in the past, these things come with the turf. They're woven into the fabric of the competition. There's a bunch of mini contests and things like that are rewards. But what I found most interesting, Ken, is that what motivates participation is the cause. And I think one thing that we've done over this past 2 years is when we provide that resource file to our growers to make them better, A, understand the impact they're having, and B, arm them with resources to be able to help and to be able to share the mission through testimonials and impact videos and photos and things like that. I think that, it really has helped our growers and our coaches that participate better understand and grasp what exactly they're part of. And that's provided to them through weekly communications and a data file of supportive materials that they can use at their disposal to share their activism. Now, also, Ken, let's talk a little bit about the grand prizes. We have obviously this year for the first time a trophy, a Lax Stache trophy that'll be formally presented to the top fundraising team. And for our top individual fundraiser, I think we have something pretty special carved out. Do you want to talk about it, man?
Yeah, well, we've mentioned we like to have fun, right? And part of this mustache is growing fun. We know that the players, lacrosse players are busy during the fall getting ready for the springtime, obviously playing games. So a lot of our prizes, right? If we want to incentivize or try and give someone a grand prize, we try and base it off the summer, so they have the time, right? They have some time to kick back, relax, and so what we've discussed is providing three-day passes to music festivals this summer for our grand prize winner. And so we've got we've got the Governor's Ball at Randall's Island.
Right.
We've got, and then what are the other two that we've talked about? We talked about Firefly.
Correct.
And then what's the last one we discussed?
Panorama.
Right? Panorama is also on Randall's Island, right? So we've got 3 different music festivals. Our grand prize winner is going to receive 3-day passes to all 3 of those music festivals. So one, we love music. We like to have fun. We want to provide a great experience and for our grand prize winner. And so that is some added incentive for the top fundraisers to go out and continue pushing and get it going is a summer full of fun and music and love and laughter. And we couldn't think of a better way to reward and say thank you to our grand prize winner. So we're really excited to announce that and get that going. And we hope that everyone is going to be just as excited as we are to get that going.
Awesome stuff. Well, we are excited to get this thing underway. You guys see our passion. We could talk for hours about this, but we know you guys got to get back to workouts. Thank you all so much for taking some time to join us to learn a little bit about Lax Stache Madness, the cause, how to get involved. If you're not fired up by now, then we're going to continue to communicate. Be sure to communicate, coaches. We've sent out a special letter for your class of 2019, as well as some shaving kits and some other things. So every college program out there is going to be receiving those in the mail. Be on the lookout for those. Share those with your teams. Be sure to share this with your teams. And like I said, this year too, we are bringing on our very first coaches ambassador in Jason Childs of St. Mary's, who will be sharing his battle in the near future, along with a professional player spokesperson for the campaign and Justin Gutterding. So we have a lot of cool things coming down the pike. And it starts with you guys getting involved and being part of Lax Stache Madness. Go to laxstachemadness.com, register your team, have the dialogue now. Be proactive with your guys coming back to school. If you're a senior, let's talk about your legacy. Let's talk about leaving behind, your mark on and off the field this season. And it starts with you guys sprouting those whiskers and growing those full-blown mustaches and really making a difference, right?
Yep, you got it. So yeah, like we said, registration is going to begin October 1st, right? So the website's going to be up and running October 1st. Start talking to your teams now, right? October 1st gives you 3 weeks, just about 3 weeks until we launch the campaign on October 19th. So yeah, start talking to your teammates, start talking to your coaches now, getting back to school about what's going on and how you'd like to participate. Once again, it's easy. You sign, you go to the website, you register yourself, you join the team, and you start sharing that link with your social network. And the madness begins. We have a lot of fun. It's going to be great. We'll continue talking to you throughout these weeks leading up to it. But we are so excited to have all of you engaged. We appreciate the time and the effort. And if you have any questions, you can email us, right? Pat@headstrong.org, Ken@headstrong.org. Let us know if you have questions. If you have any concerns or questions about how to get running, what's going on, we want to help. We're here to help. We're looking forward to working with you this fall. And we're looking forward to just having another groundbreaking, record-setting year with Lax Stache Madness 10.
All right. Great stuff, Ken. Thanks.
Thanks, Pat.